Hi, everybody. Welcome once again to another brief behind the scenes segment of Black Spring with Autumn. And I don't know, this is just a little bit of a point of frustration. And I'm not sure, your levels of frustration or your threshold for frustration, but some of these, some of these talking points or these punchlines or these political punchlines or tactics. I mean, this is white supremacy from Donald Trump is what this is about. So if you're just tuning in, shout out to the loyal patrons. Shout out to Derek C. Williams, Killer Whale Channels, A Definition of Anarchy, Chrysler Imperial H, Let the Truth Be Told, Cold War Jesus, AZ Infidel. Thank you guys so much for all that you do to support the channel. I'm just saying this. We all endured the debate, which I will say that unequivocally that that particular debate it was beyond comprehensible at times. So by the time you walked away from it, you had to kind of go back through, and whether it was in replay or whether it was on another network you found it, you had to figure out, what did you just witness? What points were made? What was well defended? But I've mentioned there being a ton of missed opportunities. But this particular flash stream, and thank you guys so much for tuning in and taking care with the channelytics. This particular flash stream is in reference to this buzz about Trump denouncing white supremacy. During the debate, I just want to preface this, we took a trip back to Charlottesville. We just seem to keep getting back to Charlottesville. No matter how many times it's been debunked, or how many times you can find the uncut version or the unpasted or unedited version of him with that in context. Because for some reason on the left, you can't have more than one. You can only have one opinion. You can't have an argument with people supporting it on one side, and you can't have an argument with somebody supporting it on the other side. So even if you don't have any idea, if you didn't have any idea about what Charlottesville or what happened in Charlottesville, or whether you've got the narrative together or not, you do understand that you can have people that are non-threatening in a debate, that they are not actually torturing, or they're not mutilating, or they're not maiming, or they're not destroying anybody, or just doing anything forceful other than saying that they disagree, or holding a picket sign that says pro the issue or anti the issue. And the thing about it, a white person actually died in that incident, in that event. So I'm just thinking, if you just consider those two things, when are people going to wake up and realize, if you had something to work with, why are you still screaming? Why do you need to scream and shout the same thing for almost 4 years? If there's really substance to what you're saying, you can come up with something a little bit more substantial than going all the way back to Charlottesville at this point, or even you have much more material to work with, right? Or you would find the unedited versions of the controversy, or the mainstream media Mockingbird's controversy. However, I said all that to say, Trump has denounced white supremacy. I will say, he did not do a fine job defending. He didn't do a fine job presenting that. He did put it back on them. I can appreciate the redirection when he says, who do you want me to denounce? I've already done this. How many times? Do we need to do this again? Do we need to do this for my entire presidency? How many times? It's a broken record. And see, the thing about, I said this in a previous stream, that there were missed opportunities in there, because there were plenty, there was plenty of counter arguments, counter truth that were missed. But I'm just thinking, they are spinning this Proud Boys narrative now, And they're back to, they've got a cycle somewhere between Russia, white supremacy. It was his fault. He didn't move fast enough on the pandemic. You got about four to five attacks that they just keep cycling and keep cycling. And when they stop cycling them, the media starts cycling them in the press conference. You can pretty much tell what's going to be the buzz, because it comes out in the press conferences. So if you watch those press conferences with Kayleigh McEnany, if you watch that, you'll see what the buzz for the week will be. And we're back to white supremacy, and we're back to climate change. I knew climate change was coming back. That's another thing that's on the cycle. He's a climate denier. Biden called him a week or two ago, he's a climate arsonist. And that's pure projection, because they've arrested people on the West Coast and the Northwest Coast. People have actually been arrested for setting fires. People have filmed themselves setting fires. But Trump's the climate arsonist. He's the climate arsonist. So you got to accuse Trump. They have plenty of material. They have anything that their people are doing, or people on the left that are doing, whatever they're doing, that's going to be Trump's crime. That's going to be his crime. So I'm just saying, here's the con, guys. Here I'm cracking the code for you. You can tell what's coming out. But what I'm saying is, as I've said this before, while we're spending time being clever and meaning and doing all these things, this country is being transformed before our very eyes. This election is going to be, to me, it's pretty it's going to be a pretty flammable situation. And there's going to be some opportunists in that. On election day, I would imagine it's going to be a contentious thing. There's going to be some contentious points about that day. And it's already happening. So this is going to be a short rant, or short whatever you want to call it. But the white supremacy thing is back on the schedule. And we're less than 40 days now. So this is going to keep cycling. Let's see who's here. Shout out to everybody in the stream. This is a flash stream from the car, by the way. So that's why I am. Shout out to Anthony Shioli. Shout out to you. Shout out to Doran Van. Let's see. Shout out to Old Head Deuce. And thank you guys so much once again for joining me on the. Thank you guys so much for joining me on the Meet Me at the Debate. That was quite fun. And the other thing is, I'm getting a little bit off track here. But the other thing is that you're going to continue to see these same points being cycled. And yes, I the whole racist narrative. Like I said, I'm just not sure who preps Trump for these debates. I think I'm going to be honest now. I don't know if you have a strong stomach or whatever. I'm going to tell you, Trump has done a better job, or Kayleigh McEnany has done a better job keeping the press at bay, or handling the press better than whomever prepared Trump for that first debate. She has come in and pretty much, she directs traffic when they get out of hand. But see, to me, I think that Trump needs that same type of redirection on the debates, because all Biden can do is say, oh, well, that's been disputed. Oh, and then, or he'll use his late son, Beau, as soon as he starts talking about Hunter. Where's Hunter? That's the other thing. I'm starting to notice the tactics. So I'm just thinking, hopefully, maybe they can play play the debate back for him, and I don't know. I don't know how they prepare. I just think that he was not. I think with all the things that he's done, he was not prepared for redirection, and still land some of those digs. He landed some digs, But it kind of got away. It got away. It was like a train that started getting away. And this is just my opinion. It's like, I say this about Kayleigh McEnany. I said, when the press secretary is ready, when the master is ready, the student will appear. Or when the teacher, yeah, something like that. It's not, I'm not the originator of that, but she has totally whipped, because I saw somebody trying to get out of hand with her today. And I think at this point, if those reporters keep agitating, dismiss them. Like, look, you don't have to be here. I'm not gonna, it's not a debate. They want to debate Kayleigh McEnany rather than just, conduct an actual survey or create a report. They've already made up their minds how they want it to go before they get in there. But she's redirected them so much that I think she puts them off the rails. They're not on the rails. But whoever prepares, I think that maybe Kayleigh McEnany should work with Trump for these last two. But here's my point that I really wanted to drive home is these debates are important for more than one reason. One reason is because most of what Trump says directly to the people, or what people get to see him say live, it never gets covered. So you need to be as substantial, and you need to deliver as much as you can, because the digs and the 1-2 punches, once that stuff starts happening, you lose. Not only do you lose the opportunity, you lose the people that you might have an opportunity to clinch. There's still probably some people out there that are slightly awakened right now, but if they don't see what they need to see, if they're not getting to see what they need to see, yes, we know he has some level of charisma. We know that he has wit. We know that he's a New Yorker. Yes, there's charm in that. But is that going to get you in this pivotal election? Is that what you need to get you over to those people, those undecided voters, or over to those people who are maybe still straddling the fence? So I'm just saying, like, maybe they can get, before the next debate, please get somebody to work with him that can redirect him. Get somebody that can help redirect Biden. And see, the thing, I will say, I did say this because of the structure and the interference from Chris Wallace. I don't think it was a completely fair debate. No, I don't. But it just seems that he could not, it's like trying to hold off two people. But I think Chris Wallace was more of a support system for Biden at the time. So we'll see what happens. I there's so many things about this election cycle that actually concerns me right now. There's so many things that actually concern me right now that it's getting exhausting, and I think many people have already made up their minds. Many people that have already made up their minds, but for that percentage that have not made up their mind, I would suggest find out how to redirect and get back in and get Biden back on topic. Get him back on topic. He's calling you a racist. Pull his record out. Let's see. What do you have? You're on camera. You have their editorials with you referring to the black community as what, primates of the jungle. Pull that out. Fact check him. But don't spend your time getting digs and going off the rails. I mean, that was 90 minutes of what I called incomprehensible, because by the time it was over, all I know is that first 3 minutes that things were fairly calm. And then, of course, Biden did call him names throughout. And, he called names. They both ended up, getting their digs in. And I'm just thinking, getting too many digs in, that can take away from, it can be It can be a distraction, and it can be something that works against you. In fact, I made the same kind of statement, or something of the same ilk, when I saw Kim Klacik. She ended up going on to The View, going in the snake pit. When you're going in the snake pit, I think maybe Wallace and Biden, they were the snake pit. Shout out to the Definition of Anarchy. Thank you so much. But I think he did make some great points, but at the same time, he got a bit lost. But let me round out this point on the Kim Klacik situation. She goes in, and when things start to get a little tense, and she hits the super agitator or the super bitter host, Joy Behar, and she says, "Is this?" Kim Klacik says, "Is this Joy? Is this blackface Joy?" And then Behar jumps right in. "Yes, I did. The black community had my back." Well, I'm just thinking, if you go in guns blazing like that, you got to be able to recover and come back. You don't have, because then you laid a dig, and then you had no comeback. So then the pack just kind of jumped all over you. Then you started, that Sunny Holston. That's another bitter character. You got her jumping all over you. She said, "Oh, honey, the black community didn't vote for you. What world are you living in?" You go, she's going into her whole, Mean Girls routine. I mean, that is I wouldn't recommend those shows even for her, because, you might have landed a dig, but you lost people got lost in the dig. And they didn't hear more about your convictions and more about your platform and what you were actually planning on doing. I mean, I'm saying that these things can happen. I mean, we're in a world of newspeak and idioms, newspeak idioms that are being used all over the place. And I'm just thinking that you've got to be, if you deliver a dig, you have to be able to recover when they come back, because they're not coming. Because the thing about it, you can almost bet that they're not coming back with any facts. So you've got to come back with something that's going to serve your platform, and it's going to sting or burn just as bad. You got to burn when you come back. You can't come back with, shrug your shoulders or say, "Oh," because they have cantankerous, sullen teenager responses for you. That's what you're going to get. But I personally wouldn't be doing The View. I mean, I know you want to get your name and face out there, but you got the pack of coyotes on you is what you ended up dealing with going on The View. And I think, honestly, I really think Trump can handle Chris Wallace. As ironic as this might sound, I actually think that Trump can handle Chris Wallace and Joe Biden. But he needs better prep, because he started losing control, and losing control, and the message got lost. For those people that are not decided, he lost control. And I understand. You've been going through this for almost 4 years, and then here you've got it on stage. You've got it directly on stage from Biden, and then all of a sudden you're getting sideswiped. Now you're getting T-boned. Now you're getting T-boned with Chris Wallace. So, what is this? It doesn't feel like an election cycle. It really is starting to feel like something else. Much less cheaper. It's starting to feel a little bit cheap. People want to mail out want to send swaths of mail-in ballots out, like sale papers, those sale papers that you get. So they end up flying on your windshield, and finding them in your laundry room at the apartment complex or at your condo. Or I just, doesn't that cheapen the process, or the not just the integrity? It totally berates the whole process. So I do believe this is going to set the tone for the next election, if you guys can imagine that. mean, some people are like, can we just get through 2020? But I'm saying, if they don't, if this gets, can this process get any wonkier or cheaper, if you know what I mean? Can it get any more, can it be treated any more frivolous or with any less dignity? Because this situation is becoming really, really undignified. And I think that's a turnoff to people as well. Shout out to everybody in the stream. I haven't read very many comments, but this is from the vehicle. So yes, Cold War Jesus, I agree. I agree that Kim Kim is very civil, but those women are, they're bitter. I don't know what happened. Somewhere in their life, something didn't go well. I don't know. But it's not, I wouldn't want to be them. And I do think Chris Wallace was more of an agitator, and his role was he conflated his own role, and then he tried to, and you know, there were times where he tried to project that on Trump. Say, oh, do you want to switch places? Oh, brilliant. You know, I'm telling you, they all must read the same book. They must all be reading Saul Alinsky's Rules for Radicals, or, you know, I don't know. They're all reading, or what are they reading? Because they've got it down. You know, accuse somebody else in the room of what you're doing. And see, when they do that, it really kind of weakens you, because if you're not in that frame, if that's not one of your tactics, or if that's not a place that you're familiar with, it destabilizes you, because you're trying to defend yourself, but then at the same time they're still throwing jabs. And so yeah, it's definitely an interesting situation, but it's also becoming so undignified and so unfocused. There's so much minutia out there. You know, the mainstream reports a lot of minutia. And economically, I mean, I was watching Pelosi earlier today. Those are hard to watch, by the way. Pelosi's press conferences on Thursdays, those are tough to watch. And of course, she gets up and does her whole, you know, of course, the Affordable Health Care Act, Obamacare. She does her usual suspects. And, you know, I'm just thinking, we're just not. And then I think there's no report coming out on any of these, what do you want to say, deep state actors, or whatever they refer to them as at this point. I mean, they're the untouchables. They should refer to them as the untouchables, because I have little faith that anybody's going to do any time for what they've done. And I'm telling you, like I heard another anchor or pundit say today, or maybe it's Lou Dobbs or somebody, he said, what is it going to matter at this point? You have, if the Durham report is not complete, if Barr, I don't know what Barr's doing. I think if Barr was doing anything legit, or really, I mean, he's doing a lot of things statewide. You know, what was it? He's done a lot on crime in terms of these, you know, these little paramilitaries of the left, the BLMs, the Antifas. He's done a lot on trying to bring those cities, restore justice and restore order in these cities. So I think there again, that was a huge point of deflection, because he's working on all of these things, but there's no report. I mean, and how many reports do you need? And, you know, the left, they can get anybody locked up with little investigation. But the right can't seem to bring anybody. They cannot seem, and I'm telling you, as long as that happens, this country can't live up to its potential. You know, I think Trump's slogan, "Make America Great Again," I think it's in a progressive tense, because he recognizes there are things that are wrong, but it can't be its potential with all of these people still in place. Well, you got the Clintons still at large. You got Obama's basically, he never really left. And I mean, his point of agitation, you know, his groups, they never really left. I mean, look at BLM. I mean, they're basically coached by some of the most notorious, they have been coached by some of the most notorious terrorists in this country. And those people came out of Chicago too. Organizing, when you hear those people telling people to get out in the streets and organizing, they are talking about radical people that believe in revolution. They believe in takeovers, and they'll put any kid's face on the front of that banner. They'll put any man's face on the front of that banner, and thereby they're using the black community. They're using the black community to sell the con, to garner, to make it seem like they've got popular support, they've got all the emotional investment. They are using black people as their cannon fodder and as their useful idiots to move it forward. They've been working on it since the 1960s, ladies and gentlemen. You know, they figure, you know, there's always a George Floyd everywhere in America. What do they care about George Floyd? Do you think they actually care whether George Floyd whether he was under the influence of anything, or whether he had mental problems, or do you think they care? I mean, hell, he might have been released multiple. He might have had bail. They might even have bail. They might even have the bail program in Chicago. The same people that lift them up also assist them in what they do. You know, you have liberals will stand behind, will stand behind people that promotes their agenda. And that's clear. That's what they're going to do. And they're going to try to make you feel bad because you're not. Because it's a part of the con. It's not, they're not going to give up the con, but the con is always there. And then the late Breonna Taylor, that's another person that they'll put on the front of their banner. Do they care about the facts? Do they care about the circumstances? No. They'll probably tell Louisville to put a statue up in her name. That's you see. So shout out to everybody in the stream. I really appreciate you guys on my rant. But yes, this started out on white supremacy, so now we're going to the BLM and now we're going into the other situations. Shout out to everybody in the stream. I really appreciate you guys. Well, I'm going to speak to the comment here, Spirit of Liberty. He says, I think Trump lost because all Trump had to do was let Joe Biden be forgetful. Joe didn't have, hold on, I'm reading this as it's going. Joe didn't have any egregious mistakes like he's had over the last year. It made Trump look like a bully. Now, I can see that precisely. Biden's cognitive whatever seemed to be, heads and shoulders above what he's done previously on press conferences, in the general public. He seemed to be composed. Now, what he's composed of, now I'll get into that another time. But he was composed with all of his tactics. Saul Alinsky, whatever they do. He was composed with all of that. And when he refused to answer many things. And the thing about Chris Wallace, every time Trump tried to answer a question, Chris would cut him off. So Wallace was actually, he was the mainstream media in the flesh. Chris had 2 or 3 roles that night. He was the mainstream media, he was the moderator, and he also debated Trump. So he had 3 roles. And that was a part of the incomprehensibility of it all. Because this dude was rolling on three positions, and there, and shutting Trump down was what he was successfully able to do. Between Biden deflecting and Chris Wallace shutting him down, they had the left, the progressives, they had everything they needed to make Trump look highly reactive and to make him look unprepared. I'm not saying that he was unprepared. I'm just saying with all of the dynamics, he was fighting a moderator, a media hack, and Joe Biden. So it's like at some point I was like, okay, Trump, get up, and get back on, switch this around, counter and move, but don't get stuck, is what I was saying. So yeah, I know I'm playing Tuesday quarterback or whatever they call it. No, it's Thursday quarterback. I know I'm playing the Thursday quarterback of the debates, but this whole white supremacy thing is that stream in the news, that line in the news is really, they're going to stay on that. And I'm just saying, my thing was, okay, Trump, just answer the question. I mean, it was it powerful to redirect and say, who do you want me to denounce? I've already done it. Just do it and then ask them that. I've done it. Okay, yes, I do. Now, who do you want me to denounce? Who do you want me to denounce this time? Who? How much time do you have? So I don't know what this next debate is like, but I think he needs better prep. He needs more redirection. He needs to counter and move. Don't get stuck on the minutia. Don't get stuck on it, because this is, you've only got 2 more chances to appeal to, because I'm telling you, be honest, the people that need to be watching the debates are probably not watching them. But for those people that manage to catch it, you gotta put your platform out there. You gotta counter and move. And I don't know if what's gonna happen with the moderator. I don't know how that can be. The only way they can change that is to change the moderator. And I'm not sure how they select moderators, but that's a very poor choice. I'm not even sure if I could think of a moderator, if I could think of a person that might be a good candidate for moderation. I'm not even sure who that is, because everything is so polarized. Get an independent or somebody. Get an independent. There you go. Get an independent to moderate. But Chris Wallace he's playing he's wearing a lot of hats in this situation. So I don't know where that's going to leave Trump on the next one if they don't get this together, if they don't stop conflating the roles. And that's it. So I really appreciate you guys. Shout out to you guys for coming in. I really appreciate it. So this is just a bit of a short flash, and I'm going to move along here, but I look forward to seeing you guys around. The weekend's coming. It's very possible you'll have another flash stream or a regular stream. It'll be like a kind of a moonlight stream, but I look forward to having you guys there per usual. And you guys have a great rest of your Thursday. Take care.